Okay, I just wanted to send a quick little video since she's coming home with you guys this weekend. I thought I had made a first week video, but I guess I had not, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to try to kind of bunch up stuff into a little video. When she's home with you, I do want there to be some rules just so that it's easier for her to transition back with me next week. First, I'm going to go over something that I've been doing with her, which is existential feeding. Since she's not hugely food motivated, she'll take some high value treats, but when it comes to food, she hasn't really been that interested in it. And I wanted to build a little bit more of a dependency on food from me, so that way I can use it with her, like resource guarding, with her. She's a little bit of a leash reactivity. Not anything like super intense. I think it's more so her being over social and insecure, kind of funneling into her hyper focusing on things and just not wanting to disengage from other things. So I want to put a little bit more engagement and motivation from me, and because she's not overly food motivated, that's been a struggle. So what I've been doing with her is she only eats when it comes from me, and I want to explain that I do not at all mean ever that I'm withholding food from her, ever. I am regularly offering her food, and if she doesn't want to take it, then she just, that's her only source of food. So her first couple of days, she was only really taking a couple of kibbles here and there, and it took her a little bit of time to realize, oh, that's like my source of food is with this lady. So pretty quickly she picked up on that she needed to eat from me. And that rule is something that I would like for you guys to do at home. I know you guys sent the packet of like the wet food or whatever. I've only really given her that on the weekends when the staff is working with her, and even then she has rules with that. But it's hard to offer that as far as training goes because I don't want like that sloppy stuff in my pocket, but I need her to be wanting to work for what I have to offer. So in the beginning, when I was giving her treats, because that's all she would take, I switched over to like a high value, it's essentially dog food. It's that the fresh pet stuff, you can find it in like the refrigerator section of pet stores. So it's like little chicken and vegetable balls. So obviously I don't want to starve her, and so I just wanted to find something motivating to get her interested in eating with me. So I would mix that in with her food. Hey, what are you doing? Hi. To basically put value on me. So what I've been working on is building better engagement, and we're starting everything out in this very quiet room just to build the fundamental behaviors that I need her to know. So I'm not going to really give you guys a lot of commands just yet. I want you to continue the way that she eats her meals. So I guess I kind of got away from that. So it's important that when you're doing existential feeding, that you never offer her food for free. So it's always coming from you. So what you're going to be doing is when you bring her home and you have her, whatever you're going to give her throughout the day, you have it prepared. And it's very important that you never take food from her, ever. You have the food and you are taking handfuls and you're offering it to her. If she doesn't want to eat it, the session's over, you can try again in a little bit. But it's very important that you never just take that bowl and put it down and let her have it when she feels like eating. I want it coming from you, and that's going to really help with her being guarding of her resources, because she's maybe gotten in the habit of, this is mine, you can't have it. Whereas now it's coming from me, and if you act pleasant, it keeps coming. As soon as you act out, it deceases, you can't have it anymore. But again, we're not starving her. I'm not trying to make her hungry so she wants to work with me. It's just, I'm showing you this is the opportunity to eat, and if you don't want to take it, then it's over. And I'll offer it again later. And so when you take her home and you have her dry kibble and she doesn't want it, too bad. She just waits until the next time. And I know that sounds harsh, and that is something that I personally struggle with, is I don't like to see a dog not eat. But when she's hungry, she'll eat. What I do, and that's kind of where I was going with the fresh pet stuff, is I sprinkle some stuff to make it a little bit more tempting, because I want her to be excited about the food that she has. And if she's not overly excited about the type of food she has, or if she's just one of those dogs that's like, I don't really care about food, it just builds it makes it a little bit more interesting without, giving her whatever she wants to make her happy. So I either will use the fresh pet, just kind of like just a little bit sprinkled in with her kibble. She's mostly just getting her kibble, or I'll do like hot dog pieces, and that's what I have in my pocket right now. Is just, I'll show you that if I can. It'll let me come up. So I just have her kibble sprinkled in with some hot dogs. So just kind of, once she gets the taste of the hot dog, she's like, oh, it's time to eat, and it makes it a little bit more exciting. So that's going to be the biggest thing that I want you guys to do at home. You can do set meal times, that's fine. You can just randomly just offer her handfuls of food. I want her getting dependent on taking food from you. And remember, we're never offering it for free. We're never just putting a bowl out for her to free eat, and we're never taking food from her. Some exercises that I've been doing with her here is having just a bowl of her kibble on the ground, and this is what I've been doing. This is not what I want you to, not yet at least. I'll have a bowl of food, which she doesn't really care about when it's just for free, ironically. And every time I walk up, I throw something higher value in there. So the fresh pet things. So she's not really eating her, and this is the first week. She wasn't really eating her kibble, so she would kind of sniff around, and when I walked up, I presented food. So I no longer was a threat of taking something from her. When I came into the picture, I brought more value to what she already had. So that's one thing I've been doing with the resource guarding. And I don't know if she was resource guarding food or toys or whatever. I'm definitely going to do a lot of stuff with creating a better out command so that I can remove her, disengage her from resources, toys, and things like that. She hasn't been overly interested in those things yet, so I'm kind of just practicing with stuff that she comes over and sniffs and sort of shows interest in, and then practicing her out that way. And then hopefully I can find something that's really valuable to her that I can practice with, but she's not there yet. So another big thing that I want to kind of go over is her marker system. And I've started doing commands here and there. I really want to focus on her different markers, because those are the fundamental things in her training. So a marker is a cue or a sound that marks a specific moment in time that I like something, and for her it announces the arrival of food. And that is a big point of why I wanted her to have more value in what I had to offer, so that those markers mean more. So for her leash reactivity stuff, I'm using, and when I say leash reactivity, I don't mean like she's aggressive. She just gets really involved in the things that are around her. I want her to not react to them or respond to them. I'm using a clicker, so it's over there. Right here. It's over there. When I click that marker, when I click the clicker, I want her to have a response to it, to where she looks back at me, and then I can present food. Which she's getting pretty good at in these lower distractions, and I'm slowly trying to take her into situations with a little bit more competing motivators, distractions, things that are harder for her to disengage from, to stop looking at, to stop focusing on. I want to make sure I take those steps very slowly at Maisy's pace and not rush them, because I want to make sure that she has that automatic response to the clicker. But for everything else, like basic commands and obedience, I'm using the words good and okay and no or ah. I use both of those kind of. Good is going to be what is eventually our duration marker. So when I put her into a behavior, as soon as she shows me the behavior I like, I say the word good to mark that, and I will bring food to her and offer it to her. And then what I'm doing now is just kind of repeating that good food, with kind of breaking up the sequence of how soon, the timing of how soon I do those, that duration marker. So it'll be good treat, 2 seconds, good treat, 5 seconds, good treat, 1 second. So that way it's not predictable. That's gonna build up that duration in the behavior so that she'll remain in behavior for longer periods of time until I give her a release word, wait, come on, which is okay, and that's the terminal marker, meaning she can come out of behavior. So if I put her in behavior, I say the word good to mark that behavior, and then okay, I move away and let her come take food from me for her to come out of behavior. No and are going to be verbal corrections, so that way if she doesn't go into behavior or she comes out of behavior before I release her, those are kind of interrupters in helping her get back into behavior. And I want her responding to these cues and not anything else, if that makes sense. So when the timing of when I give them is crucial. So I say the word good, and then I reach in and give her food. I say okay, and then I move to let her come follow me. I'll say the word no, and then apply pressure to help get her back into behavior or whatever, because I want her responding to those sounds and not my movements or anything like that. I want those sounds to have value, and they are followed with their consequences, good or bad, so that they have meaning essentially. So, but the reason I want, like for the good and the okay, I want her responding to those, no, wait, I want her, there's a person walking by, I want her responding to those okay sounds, so that way everything else is neutral. So if I say the word good when she's in behavior, I don't want her responding to my hand moving around. Whereas if I offer her food as I say the word good, then she starts responding to me, reaching towards my pouch, and then my movement of my hand has a little bit more value. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I struggle with explaining that. So I'm gonna go over her obedience. It's not 100% perfect yet because I've just started layering words in commands, and I'm still doing a little bit of luring, and right now I'm mostly rewarding fairly consistently. I'm starting to back those off a little bit to vary how often I give them. If you guys decide to practice things at home, please do it in very, very low distraction settings. And I'm very careful with the information that I give before we are finished with training, so that way we're not giving conflicting information, and it's really the success of training is following through with what I'm asking her to do. And because this is a training environment, I have that luxury to always be able to do that. Whereas at home, and you're giving her commands and you're giving her a lot of like feedback and things, all that stuff becomes white noise if she doesn't have to do it, if there's a bunch of things that she doesn't really understand being said to her. So just be careful with what you're doing. I know that you're gonna wanna practice a lot of stuff with her, but really everything that you guys did with her before should be kept fairly similar at home, other than how you feed her. So come here, Maisy, good girl, sit, good. Sometimes she spits out the kibble. So I told her to sit, and then when she sat, I said the word good, and I want to be able to move around. And when she looks back up at me, there's a mom and kids out right outside the window. Good girl. No. Good. Okay. You will notice that I have a prong collar on her. It's just a little tiny one. I did that because with the regular slip lead, it wasn't communicating well enough with her. She was choking herself out and kind of ignoring it. It was a discomfort that she was willing to ignore and deal with. Whereas the prong collar, it creates a little bit clearer communication because it's just a little bit more of a discomfort that she's responsive to. So her timing of, I feel that I'm responding to it, is so much quicker than with the slip lead where she's willing to almost choke herself out before she responds. So I like the prong collar. It's really helped her with remaining focused with me and responding to my cues and things like that as we start adding in distractions and competing motivators come in. I'm not going to send that home because I just started using it on her, so I don't want it to be used incorrectly. It is a metal collar, so it could be used, if it's used wrong, it could be something not fun for her. So I want to make sure she fully understands that before I give that to you guys. Hi, sit, good. down. Good. So I don't have food in my hand, but I pretended like I was luring her down just to help her out. And then as soon as she went to her down, I said the word good. Now I'll offer her food. So that's just me kind of phasing out the need for a lure, but still having that trust that I'm going to give her something for it. Again, we're not ready to have those huge variable rewards in just yet. Good girl, good. And then I always practice things like drop the leash, moving around, blah, 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 blah. Good. Very good. Okay. Very nice. Hey, Maisy, please. Good. Hey. Good. Okay. Very nice. Let's go. See if the camera will follow us. There we go. Good girl, let's go. So I keep a nice loose leash. Right now I'm still rewarding her fairly heavily. She found some kibbles. Let's go. Like, very nice. Hey, let's go. Good. Oh, my camera's hitting a bowl. Let's go. Good. Good. So I'm not going to feed her right there because I had to really help her out with that sit. Let's go. Good. So see if she does better this time. Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's just a quick little demonstration. Obviously we do more, but oh, I do want to show how I give her her food. So I'm going to take this bowl. So when you guys are feeding her, and I know like the kids were a thing, so if you want, and I hope I'm taking words off with this resource guard stuff. So if the kids want to be involved, parents please hold Maisy, and what the kids will do is they'll just come and throw food down for her. That's literally all I have to do. You can just put on the floor, or it can be in a bowl depending on how their aim is. For you guys, it's going to be more so just coming up and good. She doesn't have to do anything. You're just going to give her, say the word good and offer her food, and then okay. You can keep doing that until the meal is over, or until she stops eating. As soon as she stops eating, that's it. Okay, session's done, and put her away. Good. If you want her to do anything at all, I like to reward eye contact. So when she looks up at me, good. I say the word good, and I offer her a handful of food. Good. Very nice. Good girl. Okay. All right, so I hope this video makes sense, and I always tend to ramble on these things. So let me know if you have any questions. And then hopefully she's right back to her normal self, and we pick right back up where we left off on Mondays, when I'm assuming you're bringing her back, or Sunday. And I hope you have fun with her this weekend. Oh, jumping. So she really likes to jump. So what I do, I know that she's going to jump on me when she comes up to me. So if she has a leash on, I usually just do like a little bit of a pop away from me with like, it doesn't have to be a prong collar, it's a regular leash. But you know that she's gonna come up and be excited to see you. No, that it. So as soon as she does that, as soon as she's running up to me, I'll say, hey, sit. Good. I just tell her to do something before she gets a chance to take her feet up off the ground. Eventually it's going to be a little bit more of, okay, hi, out. Good. I throw a treat away from me. So that could be something that the kids practice also to keep her from jumping, is when she comes up to them, you're just gonna, let's see if I can get a, hi, out, and then toss the treat away. That's all we're doing right now. That's how I'm gonna establish that out command. She's not ready to not have the food in the picture with that just yet. So make sure you're using food. Say the word out, take a step into her, and just toss I looked for it, toss it away from you. All right, let's see, where's the little remote?